Hi everybody, welcome to another Road to the Regionals video. This is going to be a bit disjointed. I'm literally using a spare hour I've got before a stream. This is Beans. He's trying to show you his butt via the microphone. No idea how that's going to work for him. But yeah, this is going to be a video just talking about Liverpool. Liverpool was great. My first Regionals. I had a great time. I did better than I ever expected. If you're only here for the results, I won 4, lost 3, drew 2. If you're here to find out how I got to that, hey, stick around, I'm about to tell you. So, first of all, Liverpool was great. Like I said, first regionals, I really enjoyed it. I had a great time, and I've said that like 3 or 4 different ways. It was nice, it was good. I drove up to Liverpool drove up to Bebington, which is where we were staying, and we settled in pretty quickly. I'll probably have some video showing at the same time as this, just so you guys can see what's going on. I'm a bit disjointed, I've just got off work. Yeah, if I look tired, it's because I am, and if you're wondering why this video is like a week after the regionals, it's because 1, I've had no time, and 2, I just wanted to get a couple of things sorted in my mind before I did the video. There's a bit of a... Well, I should restart in a way. First of all, yeah, Liverpool was great, fantastic. I will tell you the results in a hot second. I won't be going to Bochum, unfortunately. The main issue being money. I just can't afford to go. Is the long and short of it. But also, I haven't got the time to go. Realistically, I was looking at having like going in Friday afternoon, Friday evening. But that's not gonna happen the way the times are. The times are just way too awkward. I'd need to leave in the morning, basically, to make sure I get there like in the afternoon. And yeah, the flights just aren't good. So it's something I will plan better logistically next time round for future events. But for this one, unfortunately, I'm not going to make it. So that does mean our next event isn't until April. It's actually the... Sorry about the camera knocks where the cats are deciding to walk around the camera. It does mean that the next event we do is the Internationals, which would be post-rotation. So basically, Arceus Duraludon was my one shot of doing well in the current meta. So I think I did pretty well. As I can safely say, I finished positively in all the events I did in this current season. This is the best way to describe it. I'm looking forward to rotation. Liverpool, we got there, we settled into the house, we had a great time. We had a few games, things like that, some sleeve cards, blah blah blah. Met Murdo, haven't seen Murdo in so long. My bestest best bud Murdo. It was nice to hug him again after 5 years, I think. The last time we saw each other was 2018. So yeah, it had been a while. We went to Liverpool pretty early. I think we had to get a train like... It was like 10 to 8 or something like that. Ridiculous. Ended up going via Tesco, grab a meal deal, talk to a man who worked at Tesco. He asked me if I was there for the monster trucks. I said, there are monster trucks. He said, yeah, there's a monster trucks event going on in the same place we were playing Pokemon. I was like, oh my god, if I'd have known, I may have gone for the monster trucks. Anyway, we got to the Pokemons. Everyone had mixed results. I won't start like talking for everybody else. I think everyone had a good time, but the results were definitely mixed. First game, that was... I've got it all behind me on Twitter, just so I don't forget. First game was against Mew VMAX Double Turbo Energy. I did fine. It came to a tie, and I don't... You know, I'm not trying to crap talk opponents at all. People play at their own pace. The problem was slow play. Like, I'm used to 40-minute rounds at Geek Street, so I'm just like firing off my things. I don't really pause to think, which in some ways I think is a little bit of an advantage. I kind of have to go with my gut and hope for the best, which is great. It's very much the SMG in an FPS style of gaming. It's pray and spray. But yeah, did alright. You know, I was happy for the first game to be a tie. As long as I kind of went into the day thinking, if I get a win, I'll be happy. And I don't want to lose 2-0 to anything. It's kind of like where I was. So next game was a loss-win-win against Lost Box Dragonite. I wasn't 100% sure how I was feeling about that matchup going in. I played a couple of those online and it went fine. But I don't know if they just didn't play it or just didn't attach it, but they didn't have choice belts, the ones I played against. These ones did. So Arceus went down very quickly in the first game, and once I realized choice belt was an issue, I kind of planned around it. A lot of what happened in the regionals, which I don't know if this is a normal style of play, I might be very special, very clever. It's my first time, I've not really studied much of this. But I lost a lot of my first games, only to like effectively reverse sweep. All my wins pretty much came down to like a loss win-win, which is, you know, it kind of gave me a bit of information. It wasn't like an intentional loss. It was just, you know, I was losing due to lack of experience and then coming back quite nicely is probably the best way to describe it. Oh, I also missed one. I'll probably edit this to make it seem like I didn't miss it. The third game was Lugia, and it was the only Lugia I played, which is wild considering there was a million Lugia players in a 700 blah blah person tournament, whatever. Anyway, I again did the loss win-win thing, and it was very beneficial for me this time. I found out he only played one lost vacuum, so lost the first game but got some good intel. Won the second game. I think he just didn't have the draw. The third game was hilarious. He got Yveltal on the board and only could partly power it up. I think he'd already used the Archeops or something. I forget what the situation was exactly. Anyway, I saw my hand. It was crap. I had 2 Duraludon down. I think, were they VMAXed yet? I can't remember. But Arceus was up and ready to charge up for power. So I was like, oh, this hand is trash. Marnied it. Marnied into 2 big Parasols. It couldn't have been any better. And I knew he only ran 1 lost vacuum. So yeah, he basically just could not do anything about the Duraludons at all. I think he'd actually, like, discarded his lost vacuum early on as well. I can't remember what had happened exactly, but yeah, my only Lugia, and I won, so I was very happy with that. Next game was another Double Turbo Mew, and my worst fears have been realized. I lost. It's 0-2. It was a loss. It wasn't good. I don't remember much of the matchup. I just remember the guy pulling Path to the Peaks out of his arse whenever he needed them. It was... I genuinely thought, and I've been told that I'm wrong since, I thought Double Turbo Mew was actually a really good matchup for Duraludon. It turns out Fusion Strike Mew is the one that we're good against. Who knew? I thought with, like, having to force the Max Miracle off the bench rather than directly would be a bit of an advantage, but yeah, you win some, you lose some, and this was unfortunately a loss. The next deck is a bit of a heartbreaking one. This was a win-win against Palkia, of all things. I don't think it was running the list that Murdo has tried out on stream, and the list that I tried out earlier in the week as well. But yeah, she did well, but the problem was she was also late. I sat down. I was there, prepared and ready at the time. That's something else I was quite proud of. I didn't have any lates or anything like that. I was, you know, good with my timekeeping. Anyway, sat down, started shuffling my deck, blah, blah, blah. Everyone else sat down. Timer started. I was like, oh, shit, where's my opponent? About 30 seconds later, and I'm not kidding, it was about 30 seconds, she came, like, kind of down the corridor of people and went, sorry. I thought I had time to go to the toilet. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. You know, ready to go. Hadn't called a judge over or anything like that. Next thing I know, judges come over. Something to the effect of, you have to win both games, or... You have to win both games. If he wins one, point to me. If he wins one or it's a tie, then he wins. And I was like, okay, interesting. What he didn't say was effectively it was a round 1 win for me. So we just went into it thinking it was just, you know, a normal ass game. I won the first round, which which was effectively the second round. I didn't realize that. And then we got into the next round, and I think the way game was going, I was getting a bit, like, you know, flustered and rushing. She was going to take the win, to be honest. She played incredibly well, really well. And so, you know, it was going to be a tie. And you know, remember what the guy said at the start. And I said to her, you know, if this is a tie, you know, it's going to go into overtime. Does that mean I win? And she goes, oh, I don't know. I goes, right, let me just call the judge and we'll find out. So we called judge over and explained the situation. And he also looked at her and went, 30 seconds. And I you know, back and right, I said, yeah. She's only 30 seconds late. Another judge comes over, asks the same question. Another judge comes over, asks the same question. Another judge comes over. 4 judges came before any of them said, yes, unfortunately, because you were late, it was a game lost, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, that sucked. It felt like a bit of a gifted win to me, just because this poor lass was, you know, a bit late. But then, yeah, it got a little bit more awkward because the original guy who handed down that judgment, he then kind of shoved the slip of paper that we have to sign and say who won in between us to get us to sign it. And I was like, okay, yeah, just signed it off. She signed it, you know, not happy. And he snatched it up and took it away. And I was like, okay, bit weird, bit of a flex, I guess. So anyway, you know, I said to her, you know, I'm really sorry that it went down like that. I hope it hasn't spoiled your regionals too much. She goes, well, to be honest, it has. I felt really bad for her. Like, she played really well. I don't think she deserved that treatment at all, but I guess rules are rules, but, you know, I wouldn't have called the judge till 5 minutes had passed, you know what I mean? So, I won't assume who it is exactly, but a male companion came over and asked what had happened, and, you know, she explained it, I backed her up, and yeah, he wasn't happy about it either, so it was a win, but not a happy one. Not a happy one at all. Next one was another Thea realized. It was a loss against Arceus Flying Pikachu Palkia or something like that. I've wrote down Arceus Aero Flychu. Bit of a weird one, bit of a Arceus toolbox, which, you know, it's cool. I quite like Arceus toolboxes. Why did I lose? I prized 2 of my 3 fighting energy, both games. I just couldn't find it. I had no choice but to put a fighting energy onto Arceus to get him to use Trinity Charge, and then I realized I had no more fighting energy. So I was doomed to lose that game. It sucked. I was really mad. But it's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, I guess. It's the biggest killer of Duraludon is its lack of draw and consistency. But also, prize cards will murder any deck. And that was just straight up a cold murder. It was horrible. Horrible. So the next game was a weird one. Again, it felt like a bit of a gifted win, unfortunately. So some of you guys might not know this, but we have another store nearby, which I don't frequent. That might change in the future, called Manaflux in Newcastle under Lyme. And yeah, they've got some cool players that come over to Geeko Tree every so often. I'm, you know, I'd say I'm at least acquaintances with most of them. Yeah, I ended up being matched up against one of their lot, Reese. Reese was playing a anti-meta Blissey deck, which I didn't get a chance to see much of because, you know, unfortunately, he modded me into a win, and he basically scooped from there. And I felt really bad, but he was awesome. He said, Reese said to me, "Look, I'm not going to make it to day 2, but hopefully you will." And, you know, I really appreciated that from him. I'd have loved to have actually played a proper game against him, and hopefully I'll get a chance to, but I think he told me that he won't be playing now till rotation happens. So, yeah, it sucks really, because he's a brilliant player. A lot of the Manaflux people are. But, yeah, and again, bit of a gifted one. I don't know how I feel about it, but it was another win. So we're tallying them up. So the 8th game was weird as hell. It was a Vika Raikou Palkia deck. Very, very interesting. I was told the guy I played was like a good, like a decent player. Like I've been, you know, I don't know too many people's names and stuff like that, but Murder was telling me that it's like a decently known good player. Yeah, I forget how it went exactly. I think I lost the first one. Yeah, lost the first one, won the second one. And if it wasn't for overtime, I'd have won the 3rd game. I'll explain how. Man was using Echo and Horn. He Echo and Horned a Arceus back onto the bench. 220 health, remember. He bossed it up to the top. He had his Palkia ready. Because of our bench states, his Palkia could only do 180 damage. Unfortunately, that was our 3rd turn. If you don't know, once you're in overtime, whoever's turn it is, it's 0. You go 0, 1, 2, 3. So the last turn is 3. If it wasn't for him being the last turn, I'd have got the win, because I had double turbo in my hand. I could have attached it to Arceus, retreated it into another Arceus that was fully powered up. The Palkia was already damaged, 180 for knockout. I'd have won the game. I'd have gone 2-1, and I'd been 5 wins up. Unfortunately, that meant it ended in a tie, and I wasn't happy about it at all. I didn't realize as well how close I was until I kind of like reanalyzed it in my head what had happened, and I was like, fuck, I was 1 turn off a win. 1 turn off, 5 wins, so yeah, not happy about that, but yeah, it's the way the cookie crumbles. And the final game was, I think, a win-loss against Zoroark Box. I think at this point, you know, I realized I wasn't going to make day 2, and I was tired. I couldn't be bothered. And Slowbro is bullshit. So yeah, basically I won the first game, not quite sure how I did it. I just managed to knock out enough Zoroarks and keep them down. Second game, they Zoroarked into a Slowbro with 2 prizes left to go, and just took the 2 prizes, because that's how that card works. So I thought, right, okay, what I won't do is use Arceus, because he can, I think, he had Echo and Horn, so I tried not to bring Arceus back up. I tried to keep him out of the discard pile, so I tried to focus on Duraludon. Turns out they run Mightyena, which does 160 damage for no energy. So, yeah, I was just screwed. And at that point, I was like, I just can't be bothered. So I don't want to say I let him win. That's not fair. He played really well, but I also didn't try to win either. So yeah, it's not sour grapes or salt or anything like that. I just couldn't be bothered. So yeah, that's the results and how I got to them. Next day, we did like one side event, and I was like, this ain't for me. I'm very much just I want to play standard. I have no interest in expanded or side events or anything like that, so very simple, man. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed my first experience. It sucks I'm not going to get to go to Bochum, but it's one of those. Like, I have to prioritize. I have to be an adult, which I hate, but I have to be an adult. So, you know, it's one of them. Internationals will be next. I think what I'll try and do is keep you guys up to date with how the locals are going. I do live tweet them, but hopefully it'll be a source of conversation at some point. Definitely some more, like, rotation plans to talk about. But yeah, for now, Road to the Regionals probably doesn't need a video until closer to April. So we'll see how we get on. But if you enjoyed this video, guys, I've been Jester. I stream at twitch.tv/jestertainment. All my social media links are in the description below. And hey, hopefully I'll see you in another one. See ya!